race fans, welcome to another episode of Short Track Guys Podcast, brought to you by ShortTrackExclusives.com. I'm your host, Thomas Faddis, alongside two other short track guys in the studio tonight, as always. Jim Pokrant, driver of the 07 CanQuitFishing.com Sportsman and 2021 Sportsman Champion, here locally at Five Flags Speedway in Pensacola, Florida. And Ted Baber Video Productions, also locally here at Five Flags Speedway in Pensacola, Florida. What's up, guys?
We're having a good time.
Hey, what's up?
Yeah, there's a big weekend coming up Friday and Saturday night with the Night of Champions #2. And we got the Pro Late models and the Supers. We've already crowned champions this week, or actually 2 weeks ago,
right,
from Five Flag Speedway in the local classes and some of the...
only ones left are the Modified Mayhem, which will not be until
the Derby.
The Derby.
Yeah.
Right, and the Pros and Supers are Friday, Saturday night. Man, it's just going to be a big lineup.
Yeah, Friday night with that 75 lapper, he was going to run double headers on Saturday, but he decided not to because you got some guys running 3 races. That's a little much on a driver. So, and the mental taxing. So run 75 laps Friday night. I don't know, and then Saturday night also they're going to have fireworks from what I understand. So that's going to be pretty cool. So pack up and come out and watch some stock cars go around because it's a heck of a show, and the championship in both divisions is going to come down to a barn burner.
Yeah, there are going to be big names here, both Friday and Saturday night, and I can just go over a couple of them because I got them in front of me. Stacy Crane, John Bolin, Christopher Hogan, Hunter Robbins, obviously, William Sawalich, Jake Bowman, Cole Williams, Dustin Smith, Jake Garcia. The list goes on. And Friday and Saturday night, really, like Jim has mentioned, it's going to be a big weekend for champions again.
Very huge.
Oh, yeah, it's going to be a heck of a show. I mean, you got a bunch of championships with very, very, very close. So, I mean, you're several points. The Alan Turners are tied.
Yes.
And Bubba and Stephen Nassy ain't but a couple of points apart. So it's going to come down to who finishes ahead of who, and you might see a little bit of using the old chrome horn to move somebody to win a championship. I know I would.
Now, Jake Garcia in third place, only 8 points out. That is really tight. It could switch in a hurry.
Yeah.
Well, the thing about Jake Garcia is he's owed one by Mr. William Sawalich.
Yes.
And it might get interesting because if William has a problem, he might, you know what, this Jake Garcia guy, I owe him one. I'm not going to let him win his championship. Boop.
Yeah, Minnesota Missile may just take him out.
Yeah, it might get ugly, so we will see what happens. But I'm hoping that it don't, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'd like it to come down to them battling for it.
I wonder if that Minnesota Missile nickname has gotten to him yet.
I don't know. It'd be interesting to find out.
Through us three short track guys.
Hey, it happens.
Well, then, Saturday night we got the Supers coming up, doing the same thing, albeit the laps are maybe a little different and a little bit different structure, I guess, because I think we had some weather issues that maybe have changed this up. But Hunter Robbins again, Jesse Love, who we talked a lot about from Redwood City, California, Sammy Smith, William Sawalich again, and our boy, Port City Chassis boy, Bubba Pollard.
The Bubba.
Yep, the Pollard.
Can't wait for that one. And the guy with the best hair in the whole entry list, Michael Hind. And the prettiest car, too. Those flames are just awesome.
Oh, yeah, the Flames, the 69 car. You can't miss that one. Michael Hind and Stephen Nassy, Matthew Craig, Michael Hind again, Gavin Graham. Yeah. Dude, it's going to be a stellar weekend for sure.
Oh, yeah, we got Hunter Robin going for both championships and the Southern Super Series, so he could win possibly 3. And I think Casey Roderick was the only one ever to do that, or Bubba did it, I think, once. But it's super cool to see a local guy because he is a Pensacolian now. He's moved here with his wife, Johanna Robbins, who's going to be in the Alan Turner race. Also had a good finish in Mobile, so hopefully she'll get some prowess back and run up front and make us local people proud.
Yeah, Hunter with only 10 points out there too, so anything's possible. Just a little bad break or a little bit of not the best luck, and you can be there.
Well, I mean, you saw it last year. Stephen Nassy could have won it, and car wouldn't handle, and he dropped back fast, and Jake Garcia just ended up finishing ahead of him and winning it. So, I mean, it's a unique deal, and it's going to be a hell of a show. Bring some friends, drink some beer, watch some stock cars go around, because I'm going to tell you, you will not be disappointed.
Not at all. It's great.
And Timothy Watson's going to be running his Super And that kid did really well in Mobile, and he dominated the Outlaws. So I look to see what he's going to do when he gets in that former Finch car that he's driving. So, he's pretty tough at Five Flag Speedway, so you never know.
Yeah. He's one of those guys that we've talked about in that youth experience kind of category, right?
Right.
He's young. He's from Panama City.
Yeah.
He's done really well this year. He put a name out there for himself. So what can we expect? We can throw a little prediction out there about this weekend and who you might think that might rise to the top.
There are so many possibilities. It is really hard. Everybody's going to be trying to get the championship. That's one thing. Just try to win the race is another thing. Get tuned up for the snowball and the snowflake is another thing.
Well, I mean, you got Matt Craig, who could win anytime. Jackson Boone is another one that's starting to come very well at Five Flag Speedway and run up front. Yeah. I mean, Jake Finch, he's pretty good. Daniel Dye, he's ARCA champion.
Yeah.
And he's run pretty well. I mean, any of these guys on that list right there could win this race and make a heck of a show of it.
Yeah.
I mean, we saw how Chandler Smith got out front last year in that twin race, and Bubba ran him down.
Right.
And passed him. So you go out there and burn your tires up. That old girl will still eats tires like,
it does.
A cheese grater, and it's going to continue. You can't go 100%. And when you're out front like that, you shouldn't have to. You're in clean air. You should be able to run easy. But Chandler ran anything hard every lap, and Bubba was back there from 17th up to the win. So
kitty.
Yeah. So we know how good we don't have to mention how good Bubba Pollard is.
Yep.
We know he's got a shot every time he shows up in Pensacola. So it's just going to be a heck of a show, and people need to get out there and see it because it's going to be great. It's a preview for the Derby. And I mean, we always know the Snowball's a barn burner, and Alan Turner Pro Late Model 100 is a good race. So let's get out there and watch some stock car racing. Support your local short track.
Yeah, and I think they've got a little combined ticket price for Friday and Saturday night. So if you just want to go Friday night, you're going to miss the whole weekend. But spend a little extra money to go out and get the Friday and Saturday night experience and watch a great show.
Well, it's another part of it, too. I mean, with twin 75s on Friday and Saturday for the prolates, you got to be there in order to finish well and be, a figure in the championship. So you got to strategize just a little bit, not just burn it completely up or tear it up on Friday night and not be there for Saturday.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's you want to take the car home one piece because if you tear it up Friday night, like I said, you'll be all day Saturday fixing it. Or if you bend the clip, you're done. So you're not going to get to race. And if you're in it for the championship, you've got to finish both races. So, I mean, looking at the championship, Hunter Robbins, he's tied for first. And the first race, I would give up a couple spots to the 81 car just to get through that race and finish. But, I mean, that 18 car has been a dominant force in the Alan Turner races. I mean, he's been pretty hardcore. So that's going to be interesting to see him and see what he does.
You got to think big picture.
Yeah, you can't. If somebody's beating on you, you got to let them go. All right, go ahead. I'm not going to tear the car up in the first night. Now we'll go hard Saturday night, and whatever happens, happens.
Yeah, but we're predictors. Hunter Robbins might be one of the early favorites from our studio to win the Derby. With the success has gone with his stable this year with Ronnie Sanders.
Well, I mean, it also depends on who else shows up. You never know who's going to show up at the Derby, so it's a dice roll sometimes.
But we're always going to stick with Bubba Pollard. We're going to try to get that Snowball Derby with him on the win, and maybe he can close out this 19 points is not really that far back. No. He could actually win, and Hunter may run into some problems, and who knows?
You never know. I mean, the back markers are always an issue because there's a lot of guys that don't run up front, and when they start getting in the way, it can create difficulties.
Yeah, well, you tend to put a bumper to somebody, and you got to be real careful. Yeah. And not only that, but like I said, you're trying to win the championship, and Jackson Boone's trying to win the race, and Jackson Boone is not above putting a bumper to somebody.
No.
So we've seen it in the past. Michael Hind, he's trying to win. I mean, you're trying to win a championship, but these guys want to win a race.
Yes.
So you've got to be smart, but you also, where you got to finish. So you got to fight for everything you got.
Yeah, I think it's called being cautiously aggressive.
Yeah. Well, you got to let them hang and scrape the ground if you got to. But you got to do what you got to do. You know what I mean?
Let the rough end drag.
Let the rough side drag, brother.
Yeah, I've heard that term used quite often in this studio.
Yep, by my hero. That's where that came from. ODW said it first. Let the rough side drag.
Well, that's Friday and Saturday night coming up here at Five Flag Speedway at Pensacola, Florida. The pro late models on Friday night really split Friday and Saturday night with the supers on Saturday. What a great show that's going to be. And I just got to stop and say, we backed up for the earlier of the year. We were going to focus a little bit more on dirt.
Right.
And this is becoming maybe a two-part segment here with the XR series with a lot of the dirt guys in the late models, whether it be Lucas Oil, whether it be XR. These guys travel around. We've talked about Ken Schrader. We talked about Kenny Wallace. They run the modifieds. They run the late models. They run all over the place. They run 70-plus races a year.
Yep.
And they're running for $40, $50, $60, $75,000, $100, $1 million at Eldora. So that's going to be the second part of the question from here. But our results from the XR series this weekend with a shout-outs coming up after that. But the XR series at Kokomo in Indiana with Tim McCready and Shane Clinton taking off the Friday and Saturday night win. And if you haven't seen some of those videos, man, there's a big dirt late model race in our future in our dumpster.
There's got to be.
Yeah. Maybe we'll go up to Talladega Short Track or something and take in. The XR Series is kind of taking over the World of Outlaws, and the Lucas Oil Series, they're getting upset because they're losing a lot of drivers because of the big money.
Right.
I mean, me and Thomas were talking about earlier how that the supers on asphalt can't bring that kind of money. Well, think about it. Those series are sponsored by big money.
Big money to begin with.
They have the money, but not only that, but you have no cup money in the dirt track series.
No.
So you got guys racing for a living. They got to have that purse money to move to the next race. An asphalt super late model, the problem is these kids are racing to move up. They don't give a damn about the purses. They don't care about the money. They want the trophies and the prestige so they can go to a cup owner and go, I won a Snowball Derby, I won this, I won that, and I want a shot at a Xfinity car. I want a shot at a truck.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. The dirt late model guys are racing for a living. The dirt modified guys are racing for a living. They're trying to make money to continue the next race. That's why those races can pay so much. Asphalt late models, it doesn't get, the purse doesn't mean anything to them. I mean, it pays what, $25,000 to win a Snowball Derby?
Yeah.
You're gonna spend that in tires.
Easy.
Right.
Over the whole weekend.
Yeah.
But it's not about the money, it's about the prestige. See, dirt late model racing, there's a lot of prestige, but they're racing for a living. I mean, you guys got like Scott Bloomquist and Tim McCready. Those guys race for a living. That's what they do. They don't have jobs. They work on their late models during the week. They take them to the racetrack and they run them. And they have to run up front. They have to make money, or otherwise they don't eat.
And they don't make it to the next race or anything else either. So
no, but they've got to. But I mean, that's the problem we've gotten away from in asphalt short track racing. Is it's no longer about the guys racing for a living, because nobody races late models for a living anymore.
No.
They do it for fun. Well, you got somebody like Bubba Pollard who has the funding to do it. Well, your regular average Joe Schmo like me that wants to run a late model can't afford it.
Yeah, Donnie Wilson, his whole entire
Yeah, exactly.
Career,
Not to put Donnie down whatsoever.
That's a perfect example. That Donnie Wilson stable with Toyota backing him, and he's getting all these different drivers in there that have, like William Byron, Corey Heim, William Sawallich.
Well, they're bringing that money.
And William Sawallich, which we'll get into in just a second, did something else again this past weekend. So
won another race, maybe? I
think so.
And who did he win it with?
Yeah, and mine is, what, 15?
Yes.
15 years old. So look out,
well,
world.
I mean, he's in some of the best equipment. I'd like to see what he'd do in something that's not as good that he actually has to learn, because, Donnie Wilson will have access to all the computers and the rigs and all that stuff, and it's easy to set a car up for somebody. Somebody like Bubba Pollard doesn't have all that. He has to go out and drive the car and figure it out, feel it, get comfortable with it, and drive it. I mean, I'm not putting the kid Sawallich down whatsoever. He's a great driver. I mean, he's going to do something big if he stays healthy. He's a great kid. Seems like a nice kid. Seems like he looks out for his fans and stuff, which is important. But like I said, asphalt late model racing is about moving on. It's not about staying and racing and having a continuous series, which is what's wrong with ARCA. ARCA now is no longer a series where you can run for a championship and stay there. It's either you come in, you move up and move on, or you just disappear.
Yeah.
It's terrible now. It used to be guys like Frank Kimmel and Will Kimmel and James Hilton. Those guys ran the series to make a living. Now it's the Venturinis own 3 Toyota teams, and Toyota comes in, spends all this money to get their young drivers in an ARCA car. Same thing with the Truck Series, which Toyota no longer has Kyle Busch Motorsports. That's going to be interesting because all those drivers that have raced for him, where are they going to go? Because Toyota's going to have to spend a shit ton of money and do it now to get the truck team for somebody, Thor Sport or whatever, but they weren't winning like Kyle Busch Motorsports was.
Right.
So now, Chevrolet's kind of gave him a poke in the eye and said, take that, Toyota. So, I mean, I just, it's about money. Asphalt racing is about money now. It's no longer about the prestige. It's about the prestige winning races, but not about the money. Dirt late model racing is about the money. They're making a living doing that. They have sponsors, but that $50,000 that you win at Eldora, that goes a long way to help a team keep going. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the XR series at Kokomo, and Kokomo is a dirt track, and I'm so happy that we've been able to touch a little bit more on the dirt series, and it's just as exciting, even more exciting than some of the asphalt late model races that we watch. Shane Clanton takes Friday night's win over Tyler Erb, Jimmy Owens, Brandon Shepard, and Jonathan Davenport. I mean, those are...
slouches.
No, those are big names. I mean,
Huge.
And for Shane Clanton to come out, congratulations, Shane, for pulling it out on Friday night. And then again, Jonathan Davenport, Chris Madden, Ricky Thornton Jr., Dennis Erb, and some of the notables on Saturday night, which was a $40,000 to win for Jonathan Davenport. Devin Moran, Brandon Shepard, Brandon Overton, Jimmy Owens, and Tyler Erb. And Shane Clanton actually finished 15th on Friday night, but ended up winning, or actually Saturday night, but win on Friday night. So,
not a slacker.
No.
That whole list that you put up there ain't a dadgum one of those guys that has not won a race this year somewhere.
Right.
Yeah, those are big names.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Jonathan Davenport, he won $100,000 at Eldora. I mean, come on,
crazy.
guys. It's awesome. And they're racing. I mean, they're side by side, 3 wide, lap cars in the way, run the bottom, run the top, run the middle.
Exactly.
I mean, they put on a hell of a show. And that's what we've got to get back in asphalt racing, because it's not a show like those guys put on, and not for the money.
That's the thing about asphalt. I mean, it's like most of the tracks, one groove. You might be lucky to find something a little bit outside or a little, half a groove up off the bottom, but for the most part, it's almost one lane. But not in the dirt.
So, you actually think it's a primary sponsor that would hold back the asphalt series that puts up that kind of money?
Having a bigger sponsor to just be like a blanket sponsor for a series like that would be great.
Well, the problem, too, is promoters take the money that they get from the series sponsor, supposed to pay for the points fund and all that stuff, and they take that money and use it elsewhere, and then they stack up the points fund. It's like the 50-50.
Right.
I've never seen a points fund increase from a 50-50, and we have them every week.
We do.
I've never seen a single points fund go up. I think it's $500 to win the championship, 5 flags. It's never been any more than that. Where's that 50-50 money going?
Good question.
If you're gonna put it in the points fund and put it in the damn points fund, don't use it for the points fund. That's not fair. Right. It's supposed to increase the driver's points. They don't ever say that anymore.
Right.
It's 50-50, 50 goes to the track, 50% goes there. Yeah, whatever. I mean, you need to help the drivers. You've got to get racing costs under control right now, because that's just like with us. $220 for 2 tires has gone to $346 for 2 tires. That kills a guy like me. Yeah. That just even with sponsors, that just totally destroys, because my sponsors used to give me enough money to buy 2 tires at $200-something. I can't go to them and say, hey, y'all got to give me another $100, because, these are, most of the guys that sponsor me are working people. Yes. I have a guy owns a boat. My other buddy builds on houses. And I mean, they help me when I ask them.
Right.
And then my new sponsor, and then All Pools, man, thank God for Rich Bonneberger, because this year without him, I would be in trouble. To be very honest, I would be in a lot of trouble. And without Ben Cranford and Martin Beck and their help, I would be in trouble. And it makes little guys like me look at it and go, is it really worth spending this money anymore?
Well, let me throw this at you. Okay. I mean, just hypothetically, just out there in open forum, open dialogue. If there were 20 cars in your class and a sportsman here locally at Five Flag Speedway, and you finished 15th, had a horrible night, couldn't get the setup right, had a flat tire, got in a wreck, got damaged, but you loaded up on the trailer and went home with $1,000. How would that feel? That
would be good. I mean, I think promoters should have a hard luck award, throw a couple $100. I'm going to tell you, the best guy in the world to do that is John Dykes at Opp, Alabama.
Yes.
And I've been up there and broke on the pace lap, got black flag because my fuel cell was dumping fuel everywhere. We couldn't figure it out. Had to go on the trailer. And his daughter, Malia, walked by me after she had to pat me. She walked over to where I was standing and hands me $50. She says, Dad told me to give this to you. Thank you for coming. I paid my fuel up there.
Right.
So back then it didn't. I wouldn't cover it. But back then it paid my fuel up there. So at least I got something. You know, and John always looked out for me. He always looks out for his racers. And that's what you have to do. Your local guys, if you will push them, they'll do better. If you help them. Hey, if you have a bad night, what would it hurt you as a promoter to hand a guy two passes for the next race? Hey, man, let me help you out here. Here's 2 passes for the next race.
Yeah.
Right.
Do little shit stuff like that. Excuse me.
No,
I get upset and passionate and frustrated about it because we get no help.
Well, I've been preaching this. I mean, not really preaching it, but I brought this up a long time ago with what we're referring to as a primary sponsor. You know, Lucas Oil. They put up, you know, maybe $1 million in purse money or $500,000 in purse money. And you got the winner going to Kokomo, you go to Eldora and blah, blah, blah. Then they're winning like big time money, $40, $50, $60, $75,000. Well, if you put that money into with a primary sponsor and you have 15 cars and you finish 10th and go home, load your car up and go home, even in a local class, pure stock, sportsman, you know,
Pro
85
truck,
Monte
whatever.
Carlos, 87 Monte Carlos, and you're working your butt off and getting cut. You're getting, you know, sparks everywhere and you're adrenaline. You go home with money to put in your pocket to improve the car. That increases the chances of the field getting closer together because the guys that are coming home with 15th or 10th making that money, they can improve their performance.
Yeah.
Well, why not have a draw a pill at the beginning of the night, and whoever finishes in that position gets an extra $150.
Right.
I mean, I get it as a promoter, you're trying to make money. I get that. But usually when the infield pays for that night, okay, usually covers everything. The way I understand it. At $30 a head,
Yeah.
you know, I mean, you got to consider you bring 2 people, that's $60. And you got to buy $65 worth of race fuel. If you can get away with 5 gallons, that's if you buy the pump gas at the track. I'm fixing to go back to half gas because I can't afford it. But, you know, you do all this and do that what they tell you and everything like that, and you lose money. I get it's not our local guys are not to make money. It's not going to ever happen. I get it. But what's frustrating is when you got guys spending $50,000 to win 500, that's ridiculous. And the tech should do something about it. Yeah. I mean, they don't tech anything. You got to check these guys because, I mean, we're getting outmotored. Last year we were on a narrow tire. I had less motor. I just could get through the corners better. I was whooping on them hard. Well, then you come up and you put a big tire on them. Well, then guys with the big motors can get away with it. Yeah. Plus, I think there's some people soaking tires. I got a feeling that we got some folks that are doing some stuff they're not supposed to do, but they haven't checked nothing. And you've got to check it. You've got to look. That's nothing that gets people out there. Because I took over Flomaton one time, and these guys cheating, and I put a kibosh on it, and we got like 6 cars the very next week. Because guys decided they wanted to come race because they felt they were on a level playing field again.
Yeah.
You know, you can't. There's cars sitting at home. Guys, you know, when I first started, I didn't care. I just wanted to be on the racetrack. I win, great. Yep. Yeah, when I won a heat race my first year on asphalt, that was cool. But just to go out there and finish in the top 10 points, drive the thing on the trailer, have fun, and then you win one.
And then
it's like, this is what this is about. Okay, now I want to win every week.
Yeah.
But you can't win every week. You can't. You'll lose way more than you'll ever win. It's never going to happen. You're never going to go to NASCAR, and you stick with it. But like I said, it's getting to the point where the expenses are the juice isn't worth the squeeze anymore. It's just not worth it. And it's getting to the point where even guys like me have to question, should I sell the car and quit for a while and sit out? But then, you know, it just gets more and more expensive. It's just, it's killing a guy like me.
Yeah, the rule creep and the cost creep will get you quickly because you can't just keep going.
We say it, let's go Brandon, because that egghead is causing 90% of the dang problems in this country, but we won't go politics. But it's when people have expendable income, and under Trump, we had expendable income. People had money to spend on racing and buying stuff and doing things, and they could get out and do stuff. Well, right now with the economy the way it is, you can't afford to even go to the races.
No.
If you got 2 kids, how can you afford to even sit in the grandstands at $15 a head and buy your kid a hot dog and a hamburger and buy them a souvenir? Because when I was a kid, I went to races. The first thing I want a checkered flag. I want a T-shirt. I want a hat. You got to buy the kids something. I'm just saying, you as a promoter, we need more excitement. Yes. You go up north, they have reverse races, they have four-cylinder races, they have motorcycle races, they have bus races, they have something to bring people to the track.
Right.
Flomaton used to have a bus series night, and I'm telling you, you couldn't get in the grandstands. It was packed, standing room only for the buses. Imagine what would happen if we had a bus race out here, or we had something special. Seriously, we need some special races. Yeah. We had stuff, promoters don't promote anymore. It's like, oh, well, the big guys come to town, it'll take care of everything. We just need more.
Yeah, I don't see much of the local media that puts out, some of the events at all. And even our local, TV stations within the region that would promote it. And I don't know if that's a cost-effective thing or if they just ignoring it.
I remember one year in our local Pensacola News Journal, they were fussing and moaning about not having any kind of local big sporting event. And then 3 pages over in the sports section, they were talking about the Snowball Derby. And I'm like, are you guys one hand not, talking to the other? Because that is a huge event. It brings in millions of dollars every year.
Yes.
And they just don't get it.
Well, in Chuck Corder, God bless him, because he's the only one that writes anything in the News Journal about us. Our results were always in the News Journal. Yeah. And my mom would go in there and cut them out and blow them up and send copies to all my relatives. Look where Jim finished, and things like that. And we used to go out and do stuff like a Blue Wahoos game. Have some stock cars down there.
Yeah.
Gallery night. Bubba Winslow went down to gallery night and had his car down there. Why not set up a tent? Five Flag Speedway, come out and watch us. We're have you come down there with a video screen and show some of the races and promote the Speedway.
We still have people here in town that don't have a clue that it's there.
Yeah, I stand in line with a race now. What's that shirt saying? I told him, he said, do we have a racetrack runner out here, Pine Forest Road, Five Flag Speedway? Oh, really? I didn't know we had a racetrack.
Do you?
Well,
how the hell do you not know?
That's a way to recruit too, as a way of a visual thing, because boys and girls at a young age, when they see race cars, they're automatically attracted.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because I don't know whether it's the color or the car or something. They can go to a baseball game or a basketball game or a football game. I don't think they're as much in tuned rather than seeing a race car in front of them.
Well,
and you put a kid in a seat and take a picture of him. This dude is hooked for life. And that's part of that promotion that we're talking about.
I agree, and I'll tell you something else, too. We've taken shop classes out of schools. Yeah. Kids have no mechanical ability. It's all about these stinking phones. Oh, look what I can do. I can play this video game. But they're not teaching them how to work with their hands and learn stuff. And we used to have, motivational speakers. What would be wrong with having some Five Flags drivers go around to local schools and talk about racing and talk about the opportunities in racing? Look, you can be a pit crew member. You can do this. You can do that. You can make good money being part of the sport.
Yeah.
You can go to the NASCAR college. You can do this. You can do that. You don't have to go to college. But they don't do that anymore. All they do is push college on these kids. And these kids go to college and take, gender studies or whatever. And
underwater basket weaving.
Yeah. And they get out and live in mom and dad's basement. Kids have no motivation. And we should be motivating these kids to want to race. Why can't we have a deal like at the go-kart track where we bring out some guys with go-karts and let these kids that want to try it get out there and make some laps? Hey, I would gladly get my sponsors together and sponsor a go-kart to go out there and do that. Do the old ride-along week we used to do. Bring the kids out stand, set them in a race car, make a slow lap. You know how big that is? Flomaton used to do it every year. You know how big that is for little kids to sit and hold? I rode in Jim Pokrant's race car. That was so cool. And they become your fan, and they get to know you, and they see your face, and they know who you are. We don't even get out of the cars and get introduced anymore.
Right.
So fans don't know us. The fans that do know us, but we don't get the excitement that we get out of the car, wave to the fans. Hey, how y'all doing? Have a driver's night. We haven't had a damn fan appreciation night, and I can't tell you when. That's ridiculous.
Go to Mardi Gras parade and do burnouts down Main Street.
Yeah, or put the cars on the trailer. Tim's got a big trailer. Put a couple cars on it. Pull it in the parade. It don't cost that much. Do it in Milton.
Yeah.
Have the guys handing out cards. Here you go. Here's a free pass to Five Flags. If you buy a pass, you get a free one.
Get people out there.
Exactly.
Get kids involved, and that's what really keeps the sport growing.
Exactly. If you buy one, get one free. the dad can pay for his way in, the kid gets in for free, and he got a little bit of money to buy a hot dog or a soda or something or a souvenir, and have a driver's appreciation night. Introduce the drivers on their championship night outside the car. This is Jim Pogrant from Pensacola, Florida, former champion, blah, blah, blah. And say something about them.
Right.
But we don't. And you don't promote the local guys. Local guys go, this isn't fun. Why am I out here? I'm just kind of a pimple on the diseased behind of a racetrack. We're not actually something that's important. Make us feel important.
Well, it's something that our listeners could probably chime in on and give us your opinions. Write us a message, on Facebook page, Short Track Guys on Facebook. Let us know. Before we sign off, though, I want to give out some Port City shout-outs because, we are Port City guys with Bubba Pollard leading the way. I've got a few more now than I did last week. We got Nick Ross at Evergreen Raceway Park, Brenton Parrott at Speedway 95, Rick Martin again at Seekonk Speedway. I think we mentioned him last week.
Oh, yeah.
Matt Carter and the champion at Langley Speedway, Bryce Carver at Huntsville Speedway, Patrick Lapel at White Mountain Park, Jeff Giles at Jennerstown, Chris Eggleston at Colorado National Speedway, the Barry Attaway at Jennerstown, and his 10th feature win this year and his 8th track championship. Congratulations to you. Ryan Morgan at Thompson Speedway. We all know those guys. Congratulations to all the Port City race car drivers with those chassis. And Bubba Pollard, we're pulling for you. You know that. If you don't know it by now, then, man, you're sleeping.
You're sleeping, no doubt.
Apologize for getting on my soapbox there, but what about the Valley Star 300 this weekend? 83 entries in the late model stock, NASCAR late model stock race. And that's one of the biggest late model stock race, or the biggest late model stock race in the country.
Oh, man. Butterbean Queen. If you got a guy named Brendan Butterbean Queen, you got to love that.
Yeah, he says he's got the mullet. He's flying the mullet, so he's ready to win a race. But, that race is going to be something special at Martinsville because the late model stocks don't have the brakes that regular late models have, so you got to save your brakes, you got to save your tires. You got to save it till the end, and that's going to be a good show.
Timothy Peters, Caden Honeycutt, Jared Fryer, that's just a few of a huge list of drivers.
I'm sure there are a few more.
Oh, there's a whole lot more.
Carson Quapple, I'm sure.
We can't even begin to... Steve Zacharias, Bobby McCarty, Mason Diaz, Peyton Sellers, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
Cole Bruce, Magnum Tate, Andrew Bryce Applegate. Gotta love that. Ross Boo Boo Dalton. Come on.
Boo Boo. Yo, Boo Boo, you going to win this race, Boo Boo. Boo Boo. Boo Boo going to get it done.
Yeah, Ty Majeski, Jake Crum.
Majeski's in there?
Ty Majeski? We know that guy, right?
Yeah,
I think so. Didn't he win his first truck race at Bristol this past time? Yeah, heck yeah.
Katie Hettinger, Blake Stallings. It list literally goes on and on and on. And I'm just in the 70s right now. It goes down to the 90s for crying out loud.
They got a bunch of them, and I think they're only starting 30 of them, so it's going to be extremely interesting once that green flag drops.
Oh, yeah.
So, congratulations. And we'll talk about that next week when it's over because it's going to be a hell of a show. I can't wait to hear the end of that one because it's usually a wreck fest at the end.
Pushing and grinding.
Yeah, that's the one Bubba almost won until Matt Craig decided to drive down the bottom of the straightaway and clean out the leaders. Caused a big wreck, and Bubba walked down there, and NASCAR actually suspended him for a race because he walked down there to say something.
Well, the results from that will be coming up next Wednesday, I believe.
Yep.
Yes, they will.
That's this weekend. And we'll have the results from Five Flag Speedway, and that's going to be a barn burner, a good show. Get your butt out there, get your tickets, stay off the computer, and watch the race live. It's much more exciting.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's Friday and Saturday night, and we'll catch up on everybody next Friday on all the results. And, man, we kind of look forward to it.
Oh, yeah.
I just want to throw one more thing out here before we go.
Throw it.
Last weekend at Mobile, the racing was great. The Pro Truck race was huge. I have to, I know the Pro Truck race was interesting. Enrique Ferrer and, Dustin Smith going into turn 3, got together, and the beneficiary of that was, somebody who I can't think of right
Jerry
now.
Goff.
Jerry Goff.
Jerry Goff won it. And I think, didn't Maddox Langham come up and finish second?
Yes, he did. They were trailing by a little bit, but that little incident right there at the very end, it was bad for them, but good for everybody else.
Congratulations to Maddox on a good podium finish there. And Jerry Goff, that's that A.J. McCarron sponsored truck. Hey, that's a nice piece.
And do not forget that the Lee Fields Memorial is coming up on the 29th of October, so that's going to be a huge race, too.
That'll be a good one. Yeah, it usually is. I mean, they usually put on a really good show.
Yeah, I think Gina's done a great job over there in collaboration with Houston Motorsports Park and bringing both of those facilities together and putting the events and putting people in the stands with different varieties of classes, alternating weekends. It doesn't interfere. It puts more emphasis on their schedule and doesn't interfere with anything else. Not as a direction of interfering in a way. But they do that schedule alternating so that it fulfills everything at Mobile.
Well, they try. I mean, there's some things you can do, some things you can't do. She does a fine job. She's really trying, and I think that's cool. We need to get promoters that are trying. Hopefully, they'll increase the purse over there, and that'll help too, because it's hard for a driver like me to do over and race for $300 when I got to spend $300 some on tires. It's just impossible.
And we spoke on Sunday, and she said she's got big plans coming up, so need to watch.
Yep, we will see. I hope so. I'd like to see that place keep going. It's a fun racetrack to race at.
Oh, we will certainly keep up with that. With Gina, we've had her on. We look forward to getting with her and getting her back on and keeping up with her progress over there with that collaboration we just mentioned. And so, I mean, I don't know if we can. I mean, we could go on and on and on for the rest of the night about some stuff, but I think that it allows our time to bring up our signature series sign off that we've started some months ago.
Yes,
it's just a 1, 2, 3 count, and it is a 1, 2, 3.
Let's go, Brandon. Good night, everybody.
Thanks for listening.